he was adopting her, actually.
Thank you.
All right, we're live here on Facebook.
Oh
Hello,
God.
adoption.
What goes on behind the scenes here, I tell you, man.
Hello, everybody in Facebook, and we are the Podguyz podcast, bringing it to you as we do. 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso.
Oh my God, he's already off to the races with a drawing right there. Now it says, "So, Mr. Pecker, I have a few questions for you. So, how do you know Miss Daniels? It is okay. You do not have to shake on the stand." And Mr. Pecker says, "I will be okay after I charge up." Sparky, explain your work there. What the fuck is going on here? Why are we starting off like this? Jesus Christ. What's on the guy's head?
Well, this was our biggest, trial of the year now, after the OJ trial now. Our next biggest trial of the century.
Okay.
It starts off with the former president, Hush Money, a porn star. And who does the prosecution
We're going to go unnamed. Unnamed.
Who does the prosecution call up first on the stand but a Pecker?
Guy's name is Pecker.
Mr. Pecker.
I mean, it feels like it shouldn't be that big of a story because you're like, could you believe porn star was solicited for sex? Yes,
and
I
it was
could.
Paid by somebody else to keep quiet?
By a man who's had multiple wives? Like, okay, yes, I could very much believe that. Where's the illegal part? Oh, he said, "Here's some money and shut the fuck up," to a porn star. Like, so if you called the porn star, you replace the word and said prostitute, we're still in the illegal category,
in
right?
In that realm.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It feels like a non-factor.
Anyways, we are enjoying our time here on this God's green earth, of course. But we are joined by a fourth square today. We have a guest, Kevin. We do have a guest.
We do.
Do you want to introduce?
Absolutely. I thought you wanted to introduce, Tony. You're always the man saying, "I will do the introductions."
All right. Well, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mchale Baden.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Mchale. We actually met by doing a comedy show down Old Time Charlie's down the road from my house in Plains, Pennsylvania, Sunday night, $5 comedy night. I caught the end part of your hosting set down there. So, Mchale, how long have you been doing stand-up comedy?
So I started in high school. It really became a more I guess consistent thing. In college, my roommates and I used to throw like house parties and we'd have like bands come and play and stuff. And
I got a little we're gonna set the mood real quick. What college did you go to?
I went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania, the alma mater of Mr. Jimmy Stewart. Not the race car driver, yeah.
Oh.
That would be Tony Stewart you're thinking of now.
Oh, Tony Stewart. Yeah, I don't know if he went to college.
Jimmy Stewart had a wonderful life, and then he did.
Yes.
He did. Then
yeah.
He died.
So we used to do like bands at our house, and I thought it would be kind of cool to try to do a comedy show. So I did a couple of those, ended up doing some other spots down in Indiana, Pennsylvania. And then I came back here. I was doing open mics pretty infrequently. $5 comedy night has always been something that comes up every so often. But I pop up every now and again. I don't like to be a nuisance on the scene.
That's fair.
Now, have you ever seen the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes, absolutely.
I love the scene, specifically the scene where George Bailey, oh man, he's at the bar. He knows he's fucked, right? So he's drinking. Some guy comes up to him and says, "Hey, you're George Bailey. You made my wife cry." Punches him in the face. George falls to the ground, gets up, and they're like, George, don't worry. That guy's never allowed in here again. And George says to himself, I got to get some fresh air. I got I gotta drive this drunkenness off. So he does. He starts driving down the road, and he's fucked up. So he smashes in a tree. And first things first, the guy that is his property owner gets out and says, "Hey, what's the big idea hitting my tree like that?" Doesn't give a not
He had
care.
an idea.
He's got a gash on his head now. He's roaming around. He's like, "Hey, you back here. Apologize for the tree." So what made you want to go to that specific university? Did they accept you and everybody else say no thanks, or what happened there?
So I got into a couple places. My financial aid packet from Pitt was looking pretty ugly. So I went with IUP. Um, and yeah, I'm happy I got to experience what I did there. It was definitely it wouldn't have been like if I was given a list of schools to choose from, it wouldn't have been where I chose. But I mean, nonetheless, I think I'm thankful. I think it's like fundamental to the person I became. Education kind of traumatizes you like that, I guess.
Now, what did you specialize in over there? Was it Jello wrestling or was it basket?
It was well, yeah, basket weaving. There was some they just discontinued the Tinker Toys major when I got there. So I had to settle for theater. But it was pretty much the same. It was pretty much the same thing.
I thought you would have been a communications major.
No, I was a comm minor. I've always wanted to do more like filmmaking and production side of things. So I got to learn a lot of that through theater. And doing I got to like pay my dues, I guess, as far as like production planning and everything and being organized when like putting together projects is concerned. And then I kind of like picked up the more technical skills, editing and camera stuff that came at like the later half.
So hard.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
we were talking about it before, especially with the whole rigmarole of commercials and short films and production films and just getting through a bunch of material and trying to get it in the right place, right time, in order to have like everything fall into line is such a hard goal. Such a hard goal. But
it's like, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what was your first film that you had made, especially going into it, and where you're like, oh man, this is going to be the shit. I love it. I'm going to make this happen. And then boom, and you're like, here it is.
There's somebody watching right now that is like, you just hit the nail on the fucking head because they had to deal with me for this. Yeah, so my first film last year, I mean, I'm still very proud of it. It took a while. Like my last semester of college, I was kind of like, if I saw that there was an opportunity to kind of make something that wasn't, it is a short film, it's 30 minutes. But I kind of saw the opportunity to make something a bit longer. And I was like, I kind of just gotta like put a camera in front of some people's faces and like get it done with. And my plan was just I was going to keep writing and keep filming until I ran out of time. And I kind of had to like cobble together what I actually was able to accomplish in the time I had. It didn't really have a cohesive ending. And it was just like just a really long process. I made it for no money, which is something I'm still very proud of with the final product, how it came out. But yeah, that was Slime Pays. I still like what the movie looks like in some areas, but I definitely feel like it's not representative of me anymore, I guess, is the way I could put it. I feel like I've grown past it.
Okay.
Mchale, is there you as a filmmaker, obviously you would love movies to start, TV, acting, theater, all of that. So is there one scene in particular that you can think of right off the bat where you saw an actor, you know you're watching a movie, but you just forgot for a good minute or two that these were actors and thought that you were actually watching a person that wasn't the actor? Is there any scene like that that you can think of?
Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was like the one that came to mind right off the bat. It's like so weird because I always like criticize movies and I'm like, yeah, that character being played by that actor, like Mark Wahlberg or whoever, like that really took me out of the movie. Um, just like noticing he was there. And it was kind of crazy that like somebody as recognizable as Brad Pitt was just kind of like disappearing into the scenes in that movie. When he makes his dog food and makes himself mac and cheese, like who is that?
Well, that's the thing. That Tarantino has that ability to just make well-known actors, and it's just been like a trick that he's been doing for years and getting away with it. But just like household name actors, just as if they're in an indie movie. So as
Yeah,
if it's all grouped
even
together.
shit. Another example that came to mind, Mike Myers is in Inglorious Bastards. I always forget that. He's I think he's like the British, or
The
not British, the Canadian general guy. But
He
yeah,
no
just
no no
another actor.
he's the English, he's the English
Oh
general.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
one of those movies that just kind of takes the cake for me personally, and it's a Tarantino flick as well. Is
Another insane Brad Pitt performance.
I'm gonna say Reservoir Dogs. Uh, Michael Madsen's character
Oh, Mr.
really
Blonde. Yeah, he's scary.
really sells it on the point where it's not like we have to assume it's his character has to show very little to have us already know how much he doesn't like authority figures like police.
Yeah,
So he doesn't need to say, I hate this, I hate cops, I hate this, I can, he has to say zero. And then just in one scene alone, when they have him babysit the cop and the cop is like trying to negotiate, the silence left by him. And then the only response he gives is, to be honest with you, I don't give a fuck what you do or don't know. Torturing you sounds like fun for me. And he just leaves it at that and plays the radio to the
yeah,
point where he wants to fucking cut his ear off because he just got
yeah,
done doing. We know as the audience member that he just got done doing 4 years in jail, right?
mhm.
We're now left with the thought like maybe in jail the prison guards wanted to torture him so that
Yeah.
way he
Fucked with
talks
him.
about the information that he knows. So then he's got all this built up anger, but it's not showing through his face in anger. It's just so buried within his character that it's just he's waited for this opportunity just to kidnap a cop, just in case something went wrong again. And he thinks that there might be that situation where he's going to go to jail again. And he's like, you know what? I'm taking a fucking ear. I don't care. I'll slash his face. If he's going big time. And that whole scene is bought from point A to point B to point. Holy shit, is he cutting his ear?
Yeah,
Cutting his ear off.
absolutely. Dude, Tarantino is one of the
You,
greatest.
but you have a movie coming out right now. It's a very short one. You said 3 minutes long.
Yes, very short.
Short films sometimes go unappreciated. Sometimes movies are way too long, and I'm gonna throw it out there that Green Mile was way too long, just so that way we can see fuckface spit out bugs into people's mouth. What a stupid spike in a movie. And I've been saying that for the longest time. People are like, the Green Mile was good. No, the costume design was good. Um,
Yeah,
the costume design was good. And then the big thing was spitting bugs in the mouths. Who stood on that hill and said, we need to keep this in the movie because how else will people think that he's saving these people without spitting fucking flies out of his mouth into somebody else's mouth? That was fucking stupid. I've seen better graphics on
See,
everything.
it was about the representation, Kevin. The representation of the flies.
There was no representation of the
There
fly.
was. It was the ugliness that was inside of people that he was
my
trying to get rid of.
God. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Don't give Stephen
The
King credit.
subtext.
Don't give him credit.
You know what movie I kind of liked, and you brought up a good point. Someone who was a torturer, who played a pretty good role. There's a movie called Unthinkable with Samuel L. Jackson.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, Mchale.
Unbreakable.
It's Unthinkable.
Oh, Unthinkable. I was like, I've seen Unbreakable with Samuel L.
Yeah,
Jackson. Yeah,
he
Mr.
plays a
Glass.
torturer for the US government, and there's a guy who has like dirty bombs in different cities, and he has to torture him in order to find out the locations of the dirty bombs.
Damn, I feel like maybe I have seen. It's not him and Bruce Willis, right?
No,
No, no, no,
I
no,
think
no.
it's on
No.
Netflix. Wasn't it
Maybe I
2010
It's
or
maybe
on
something
I
like
am
that?
Netflix.
thinking of Unbreakable.
It's a 2020. It's a 2010 action thriller movie. Definitely worth it. Very well shot, well acted. Story moves along seamlessly. Underrated movie. All around, in my opinion. But no, Tony, you're right. That was the torture scene there also done correctly. Um,
Perfect.
it's just one of those things. But there's Mchale, you have one out now. It's called "No One Will Believe You."
Yeah, No One Will Believe You is going to be my next one that comes out. This is kind of uh, I am a big fan of the old Goofy cartoons specifically. Um, I think that a lot of like my comedy influence, like from an early age, came from those. And I kind of really enjoyed implementing some of the comedy from those shorts into like a live action, I guess, project. That was mainly what I was looking at for this project, and I had just seen The Holdovers a couple months prior, and I was a big fan of that movie, so I wanted to shoot something in the snow. And we got lucky, and it was a day that was really snowy at Naog Park, but not that cold. And I, I'm not trying to flex or anything. We got there once filming started, 90 minutes uh like went by. We got everything. We were going home.
Wow,
And
that's quick.
that was when like I've had projects in the past where I'm like, all right, like maybe I'm really getting the hang of this. That was like, okay, we got that in the bag. Like we're good. And it kind of just like I went home and I edited it in 50 minutes and I had a cut like to show people that night. It was pretty cool. It felt like very I felt the flow come over me, I guess.
How long is the movie?
It's about I want to say 2 minutes 53 seconds, something like that.
So now, just prime time example. Now, just to recap it, you shot for 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So 90 minutes. This is just so that way listeners out there
Yeah, for
know.
reference, if you're dealing with like a project that's 5 minutes, you're gonna want a lot like 3 to 4 hours.
Mhm.
So for we were a little under, but I felt it was a very efficient process.
So I'd like to hear about the not necessarily the process, but um, like how do you go about that? So when you go from start to finish, as far as script writing, any
Hmm.
type of storyboarding, locations, of course, very, very important. Actors and actresses. Do you have a particular story of events that you happen to go through in your mind?
So I have a producer who helps me with my videos and everything. And I come up with an idea. I go to him. He yells at me, tells me to do it again. It's wrong. Um,
You
I
did it
do it
wrong.
again. So the whole thing, and this would be my advice. Not that I think anybody should be soliciting my advice from a filmmaking standpoint, but my advice to like a young filmmaker is you have to think compact. You have to think small and making something big out of it. I watched this video in college where Werner Herzog was asked what his like number one piece of advice to young filmmakers, and he said, "Learn to pick locks." Because you just kind of got to get what you need and get out of there. Um, but when it comes to like stuff like location, like I think like a park, a room in somebody's house, just something that's easy to get to. Nobody's gonna have a hard time getting there. I want to get in and get out. I don't deal with filming permits or anything. I'm at the park. It's for a school project. We want to be there like as little time as possible, and that's why I was very happy with the 90-minute shoot time of No One Will Believe You.
No one will believe you. Now, what's the plot of that? Because what is it about?
So there's a photographer. He witnesses a robbery, and the chain of events that unfolds from there, without spoiling it, are unbelievable.
Okay. See,
they're very difficult to believe.
Tony hears 90 minutes, and he's just like, I know what he's thinking. Kev, we get that done in a half an hour. Several scenes done with, but in reality,
it's always working in my brain. So
well, I should add, this is action scenes and like people running back and forth, jumping off stuff.
Yeah. But in some form of reality, we do get it done quick, but we don't. Like we go out to eat, we're talking, we're writing down the ideas, we're pitching it back and forth. Scheduling process, scene setup, of course, that takes a little bit of time. So we're just going from like, and then of course editing from that point, and that took me about a month to edit, which was
editing's a bitch.
But by the end of it, you know, we by the end of it, especially with I'm trying to make special effects out of fucking nothing, right? And it took me a week to get Tony to reappear and disappear as the Podguyz podcast genie with explosion side effects and a poof and the whole thing, and you know, out of nothing too, like literally nothing but what I already had with splices and crap like that. So
nice, yeah.
It was a lot of learning curves, and Tony's like, hey, he's like, how's it coming along every now and then? I'm like, I think I just got you to disappear, and you're like, why did you do that? Were you fucking...
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think like I said this before we went on, but like filmmaking, it's like working out. You got to kind of learn to enjoy the painful part of it. It's always a process. It's after a bit, you start to look forward to it. I kind of feel, sorry, I popped away for a second there. But you start to look forward to the whole process of going through the pain.
Couldn't agree with you more, actually. Like, and not necessarily like, you know what? I've done a lot of things later in my days. You know, being up in my age. Of course, like even back in high school, I wasn't into commercials and, you know, trying to get into and trying to do voiceovers and trying to do like different stuff because I had no interest in it. But many years later, I was like, oh, acting. All right, let's do this. We'll do commercials. We'll do video and film. We'll do radio. We'll do all these different things. And all through my 30s, that's what I had gotten into. And I wish that I had gotten into it earlier in my life, because maybe that would have been my passion. But I feel like there's not necessarily a time gap problem, but the people who want to get into that just need to go and do it. Like, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
In order to do
no, Tony, you're 100% right, dude. People retire themselves way too early.
100%.
You know, I'm sorry, Mchale, go ahead. I feel like I interrupted.
Well, I was just gonna say, like when I was doing my first film, like the whole reason I like set out to make it as long as it ended up being, and that's not really even like the standard. Like I couldn't submit that anywhere as like a short film or anything at a festival. But like I was just kind of like, okay, this might be like the only opportunity in my life I have to make a movie. I need to make as much movie as I can. And I kind of, because I took it on in that way, which was not the correct way to do it, I kind of convinced myself that it was a process I wanted to feel the hurt again. It was like a reverse breakup almost, is what I'd consider it. Like you just like,
well, wait a second.
Pieces of yourself coming back. I don't know. I felt fulfilled.
Hold on. What is a reverse? You mean she broke up with you?
That's a breakup. That's a regular breakup.
That's a reverse breakup.
No, a reverse breakup is like
the whole
part of like I'm saying like a breakup is in like you end a relationship with somebody that you had as a part of your life for a long time, and it's like, damn, there's just like a gap now.
I am so waiting
Filmmaking
for
felt
some. I'm waiting for
filmmaking
some.
felt like I filled in the gap, but there was no
Okay.
like breakup.
There's a
actual
void.
breakup involved.
There's a
I'm
void.
waiting
Yeah.
now. Mchale, for our non-viewing audience, Mchale right now is in a very quiet, soundproof studio called his car, and
Yes.
I'm waiting for some Final Destination shit to happen, and we're gonna, somebody's gonna zoom
You might
by,
get another live PD situation. Or they might be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
right? Like, you'll have some detective roll up and be like,
Yeah.
"All right, we'll see
Excuse me,
something."
sir. Why do you have your
Along,
camera
yeah.
in your car?
Do you expect me to believe that you're on a podcast right now? Yes, officer. Yeah.
You're on camera. Yeah.
So Sparky had a question, didn't you, Sparky?
Well, hold on, I'm working on something.
His
Oh,
questions
man.
normally come in the form of drawings.
They do come in from pictures. So
Is
I
art-
have a very good friend, Eddie Baumeister, and he's a very, very good photographer, filmmaker. He does a lot of things with puppets, and I acted for him in a short film that he was going to have before they actually came out with these movies with like puppets and live actors.
Oh yeah, Happy Time Murders and yeah,
The
so-
Happy
yeah.
Time Murders. Yeah, before that even came out, I had done a film with him, and we were doing a mafia-based film with puppets
With
and
puppets?
the mafia, and that was going to be an awesome movie. But we ended up having quite a few problems with like trying to get actors to not necessarily stay, but like the main actor kid that he had ended up going away
Oh, well,
for
dealing with
something.
dealing with kids and like younger people is always difficult because their
So
schedules
hard,
change constantly.
so hard. But I know that he in general is trying to get more film time, and he's trying to get more stuff on film in general in order to add to his repertoire. But how do you feel about that as well? Like, is there another big project for you to get under the gun as far as, something local at least?
There's a couple. There's two projects, and I won't get into it here because I could like they're just ideas at this point. I feel like they're like I don't know. They're not fully developed. There's two that it's like if I came into some money and it was like I can make a feature film, I got to pick between those two. But there's another one I'd like to there's aspects of my first film. Uh-oh. I'd like to revisit. But sorry there. Keep myself lit.
Yeah, you don't want this.
I mean, all
You
the
don't want the power
different
going
kinds
out
of-
at the house.
No, we'll be all good. Yeah, I didn't pay the electric bill this month. But no, there was a lot of there's a project that I'm maybe looking to do that's a bit longer than a traditional short film, but I'll have to see. I'm hoping to have that ready to go by the end of the summer, but it's all a process. I might wake up tomorrow and decide I don't like it.
That's fair.
All right.
Did
It's
you
not
ever-
a porno, though, right? It's nothing like that.
No.
Because, you're like, maybe longer than a short film. We'll see
Kevin,
how it goes.
Kevin, it's
Yeah,
the
we'll
office,
see. Yeah,
it's
well,
the office porno.
yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be a 7 to 10 minute video. It turned into a minute.
Happens to the best of us.
A masturbation joke right there for all that didn't catch it.
It's the Scranton Prophylactic Company.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of things on the horizon, of course. Did you ever look into funding? I know through the city, you can happen to get funding for short films and arts and entertainment and stuff like that. And usually there's a lot of different grants that you could look into in order to get money for those as well.
Yeah, I've always I mean, obviously funding my movies is like the dream. I have discovered, it's like throughout the process, probably about the past year has been when I've really been like getting more into filmmaking. Um, that I kind of enjoy it when I realize like, oh, I didn't spend any money on this one. I made a one-time investment in myself of $1,000. I bought myself a PC that was a small loan of $1 million. There we go. Um, but I made a one-time investment in myself of $1,000 for a PC that can handle editing software.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, everything is a costume piece I have from Halloween or a prop gun that I have anyway. I kind of like have more fun trying to figure out ways to do it for no money.
Yeah, it keeps you sharper creatively, I guess. But Sparky has some Sharpies he's been being very creative with as well. Sparky, flip that big board around. Tony, read it off.
So, what were you doing in your car, sir? I was talking to the Podguyz podcast. Oh, tell Sparky hi. He's our favorite.
And normally the cops love Sparky because he always gives them the hats on the head. If you're wondering exactly who was saying the dialogue in that one. Have you ever been in trouble with the law there, Mchale?
What a question.
Well, I just asked because if you're in northeastern Pennsylvania, you always have been. You know, it's a guarantee. Yeah. The only people that haven't been arrested are like 95% of the police.
I pay my taxes. There was I don't know, there was a kid in high school. He's a cop now. I knew him. That's it.
So in trouble with the law?
I knew somebody.
Like, what a question.
Well, yeah, yeah, he's in law enforcement. I don't know.
Kevin, I have a friend of a friend that's a cop.
Yeah, I saw a cop one time, and then I went to the store later that day, and he was there. But that's the extent of my run-ins with the law.
That sounds like a short film right there. Anticipation.
Kevin, you know what I do want to get into?
Seen a cop twice in one day.
Twice.
Kevin, you know what I want to get into?
What do you want to get into?
Mchale has taken us down the road as far as Northeast PA entertainment. We should take him down the road as far as Podguyz podcast social media stories.
Okay. All right. What did you
have? I'm
going
to bring this up, and I know it's a favorite topic of yours because we're going to get into it a little bit with, but it wasn't OJ. Who was it? It was, was it P. Diddy?
It was P. Diddy.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was a different football story.
More running backs committing murders. Yeah. No, P. Diddy has now it's been brought to everybody's attention that Sean Puffy Combs, P. Diddy, as he goes by, is now been accused, or actually it's just come out. They're being very open about it, that himself and the father, Carl Winslow, of Family Matters have been rolling around in that sexual kind of way.
Reginald VelJohnson.
Reginald VelJohnson, yeah. So,
Officer Al Powell.
Man, I mean, that is
the story right there.
Of all people I would ever have of like an odd couple of fucking in my head, that never never came to fruition there. I've never just, I've had.
What if it was Steve Urkel, but the cool version?
Stefan Urkel, yeah.
Stefan Urkel, yeah.
Yeah. Or he could be, he turned into Bruce Lee in one episode. And Elvis, yeah, it could be any of the Urkels.
That's like Wayne Brady and Hitler fucking. And you're like, dude, what? How did you guys even meet? How did this happen? Like, Jesus. There's more questions than anything, but I guess people ended up walking in on them, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but on 5 separate occasions. And this is the thing. When Reginald Johnson or whatever was asked about it, he says that he's not gay, but he did have sex with Puff Daddy. What the fuck does he think gay means is beyond me. But, that's That's the thing. He is not gay, but he did have sex with Puff Daddy. This is not clickbait, everybody. I've done my homework on it, and it's something I didn't want to do homework on, by the way. Google thinks I'm a weirdo to begin with.
Your search history must be on fire, dude.
Oh my god, it's
blessed by a priest twice.
They're already they've been banging around. But Mchale, how do you feel about the Puff Daddy accusations that have been out there? Do you have any?
Well,
any?
I mean, I don't feel good about them.
Okay.
It's it's sad to hear. It's unfortunate that everybody that has been dealing with that is dealing with that. I read that he blew up Kid Cudi's car. That's crazy. Yeah, it sounds like
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, he allegedly blew up the guy's car. But
I've never heard anybody
me,
like give the reaction of like, Puff Daddy used to be my hero. Who will I look up to now?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I suppose, the general reaction to it. I don't think anybody was a Puffy stan. I think this is just like, oh, he's one of those mogul types like you hear about, like Scooter Braun or somebody. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not like invested in him. Like, no, not Scooter Braun. Like it's a thing, and it's like terrible. Like, I love Notorious B.I.G. Obviously Puff Daddy put him on the map and seemingly took him off the map, if some of this stuff that's coming out now is to be believed. But yeah, I mean,
there's very much a premise that he had Notorious B.I.G. killed.
yeah, and Tupac as well. It's kind of crazy how that's unraveling. My dad always used to say that's what happened, and I'd be like,
I heard he
it's the
murdered both
Illuminati.
of their
Yeah.
asses, but
Yeah,
nothing about actually killing them.
So there was a
like,
big hoopla, and the big hoopla was that Notorious B.I.G., of course, and Tupac were friendly at one point in time, and then ended up having beef together. And then when P. Diddy was raising up through the ranks, they had brought Mace on as well. And then Mace had gotten propositioned by P. Diddy at some point in time as well.
and he was out.
Yeah, and then he was out. He's like, nope, I ain't having none of this shit.
How he got the name Mace was because he tried using that on Puff Daddy, as Puff Daddy's bodyguards held him down, but Puff Daddy had the sunglasses on and the mace was not working. So he smiled at him. He says, I think you'll be named Mace, and got all up in there, sort of thing. While the screams and cries were going on. And Sparky did have a picture ready for us to roll on that one. Mchale, are you enjoying Sparky's pictures so far? Because
Yeah, these are great. Political cartoons are is a bit of a throwback.
Hey, P. Diddy, did you do that? Shut up, Urkel. Yeah. That's a callback right there. And
Family Matters.
One of my favorite stories of the.
That's too funny.
That's great if Harriet came over to Carl and says, Carl, I don't want you hanging out with that Sean Combs anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Harriet, he's an okay man. Yeah, this is my favorite. Tony, you posted this one. This is my favorite for the week. John Mellencamp storms off stage after being told, just play some music. The audience didn't want to hear his political opinions. Now, normally, John Mellencamp is known for telling long-winded stories on stage, not really politically influenced, but just about the song sometimes. And he's not at that level of stardom anymore where people give a fuck about what he thinks. If you ask, there was a point in time where somebody says, oh my God, could you believe John Cougar changed his name to John Mellencamp? And then there was another point in time where somebody said, oh my God, thank God he changed it back to John Cougar Mellencamp. So now we know who he is. And now we're in the point in time where it's just like, who the fuck is John Cougar Mellencamp?
Well,
and why
you know what probably pissed it probably pissed people off if he walked on stage, first two words out of his mouth, little Diddy. We're not here for
little
that.
Diddy,
you know, like,
exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, buddy.
What are you trying to tell me?
The new generation. I'm feeling triggered. He said, "Little Diddy." Now jack the guy in. How dare you assume their genders?
It
Two
could be
teenage
subtext.
kids.
It could
Oh
be.
my god. Just
No, but it goes to show, especially about new, not necessarily even new age rock and entertainment in general, because you know what, there's a lot, and he's an old timer. John Cougar Mellencamp, very much an old timer. He's been around for what, like 100 years.
He's been around.
Yeah.
You know, he's just, you know, he's
Sucking
an
on chili
undercover
dogs.
scumbag though. He's
Yeah.
an undercover scumbag, and this is why. Him and everyone that played with Willie Nelson for Farm Aid, all of them made Willie Nelson the fucking fall guy.
They did.
This is what could have happened. Okay, Mchale, if you're not familiar with Farm Aid,
I'm familiar with Farm Aid.
Okay. For those who aren't and are listening, Farm Aid had all these millions of people to help raise money for farmers. So they did, but they didn't have any permits, and the government gave them a whole bunch of fines and shit, tax evasion, all that nice stuff, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, because the government got zero money out of it.
Exactly. So if all the performers there just gave like 10% of whatever they had anyways to help out Willie, he wouldn't have all that tax trouble at all. You know, they just said, "Hey, Willie, we know you're going through all this stuff, and thanks for inviting us to this great thing right now. Here's that money. Don't even worry about it because we have plenty of money." Instead, they said, "Hey, Willie, it's too bad, right?" Like, what the fuck? It's the equivalent of me going to jail, or Tony going to jail, or you going to jail, or Sparky going to jail, and all we need is $50 to get you out. And we're like, "Oh man, you know, we would, but sorry. It happened." Like,
Jail's expensive. We're out.
What are you doing? I thought that you would assume that they're friends, but John Cougar Mellencamp, stormed off stage after he says, "You know what? You don't deserve any songs." And I'm thinking to myself, good, because what we'll do is we'll put in a little CD called Your Greatest Hits, and we won't have to put up with this shit anymore, old man. Go home. Sparky, turn that board around there, pal.
Uh-oh, we're waiting on something.
Let me tell you a story. This ain't America. Boo, get off the stage. It's true. Is that a bong in his hand?
It looked like a very, very large guitar.
It looked like a sitar.
Now, Tony, you posted this story. You might have more details in it than I do.
Oh, I'm ready.
It says, you retitled it, "Treat Her Like an Old Boyfriend, Tay-Tay." It says, insiders reveal Kim Kardashian's response after Taylor Swift reignites their feud with diss track. So, first of all, I had no idea that they had a feud going on, because it's such a weird thing for me to actually know about, right? Taylor Swift and diss track goes along like Kids Bop and punk rock, you know, like you don't blend them together. It's not a thing. It should never be a thing. I don't get it, Tony. What's going on?
So for this past week, there's actually been a couple different stories involving Taylor Swift, not only including the Kim Kardashian story, but there was also Courtney Love also made a some sort of, you know, whatever thing that she was trying to go through. So we'll start on Kim Kardashian first, of course. And the newest album that Tay-Tay came out with was called The Tortured Poets Department. And I guess this diss track called Thank You Almi or Amy or something kind of goes like this. So it says, Taylor Swift has humiliated Kim Kardashian by reigniting their feud. Apparently they had beef going back quite a few years. Okay. And the diss track on the new album, The Tortured Poets Department, and what fans are describing as the ultimate fuck you. Now, Taylor, 34, dropped the wholly anticipated record at midnight on Friday before making the shocking announcement of a second installment titled The Anthology, featuring nearly twice the number of songs as originally expected, which is pretty nice. She's an entertainer. She's a songstress. She likes to make herself some songs.
Kale, are you a Taylor Swift fan?
I can't say I am, unfortunately.
I'm not a fan of her music, but I'm a fan of her game. I love the way that she hustles the entertainment market, and she's very good at it. You can't hate the player, hate the game.
No, fair enough.
So along the tracks included is in the second release is a song titled Thank You All Me, which fans are now convinced is about Kim Kardashian, noting that the letters K, I, and M in the song are capped up in the title. K-I-M.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Skim's founder, Kim Kardashian, also believes the track is a pointed reference to her, according to insiders, who claim that she feels backed into a corner and unable to speak out for fear that she will be annihilated by Tay-Tay's army of minions and devout fans.
Yeah, they are pretty crazy. They're
Yeah.
By the way, they're defending.
So what did she say, Tony? She's gonna told her to treat him like an ex-boyfriend.
Pretty much. So Taylor has humiliated Kim, and she knows that there's nothing that she could do about it. Kim got what she feared was coming to her eventually, and is now backed into a corner because she knows Taylor's army will destroy her if she says anything. Now, she's going to stay silent in hopes that it'll just go away by itself. But her friends know that that this has just started and will continue on for a long time. Now, fans are already spamming her Instagram posts with thank yous, thank you, ALMEE. The most malicious part of all this is the song title featuring Kim's name. Taylor's done a lot of diss tracks, but she's never named anyone in her songs officially in the song itself. There can be no other interpretation. It is spelled out and will last forever. The insider said Kim is aware of the pain she caused Taylor and that she has tried hard to make amends in recent years. Adding, but she never did the one thing that she really needed to all along, and that was just simply apologize. So I guess there's a lot of bad beef. But Sparky has a picture over here. And
Sparky was actually there in the middle of the beef. What happened there, Sparky, on the scene? It says, "Oh, well, I will treat you like an ex-boyfriend." It says, "Help me, she has a saw." And that is in reference to Tony's old shared story, one of our only shared stories. By the way, Tony, you've had 2 of them so far told by Facebook. We're up to 2. And that's not too bad. After years and years of doing the podcast, only 2 stories there, Mchale, have been taken down by Facebook to be told that they are not true 100%. And one of them was the story that Tony shared that Kanye West was dressing up like a shrub in front of Kim Kardashian's house so that way he can see his children. So he's kind of like a Mrs. Doubtfire, but he's shrubbing himself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I feel like Kanye would be perfect for a Mrs. Doubtfire scenario when you see what
that'd be perfect. Actually, I could see that in a movie.
I could see like how
would you direct that, Mchale?
Well, I mean,
Tyler Perry already has a script for it.
Well, Kanye is such a creative powerhouse in his own right. I would kind of like, I just like to see where he would take that, if I'm being honest. I'm surprised he never got into filmmaking because he just like, dude's he's controlling everything. You're saying he is a fashion designer, and if you're familiar with his work, his clothes are a bit some of them do resemble military fatigues. Might have been going for like a special ops type deal there.
So Kanye West kind of, if you're counting music videos as a sort of filmmaking or a creative outlay, I think he has a little bit involved into that. So he's very creative, and then has also stated many times he has a lot of mental disorders going on. And it feels like the ones who admit that they have mental disorders or anything mentally wrong with them, these are the celebrities that are really picked on the most in a big degree. You have people out there,
yeah.
the unapologetic ones get a pass every time, like Burt Reynolds, where he's just like, or even Sean Connery. Sean Connery stating, you have to beat a woman every now and then just to keep them in line. And you're like, are you mentally fucked up? And he's like, go fuck yourself. I'll beat your wife. Like, dude, what is wrong with this guy? Don't even talk to him anymore. Maybe, but he played a hell of a Bond. Yeah,
Mel Gibson, same thing. Yeah.
Mel Gibson's taken it to some weird level right now because
Yeah.
there's not too many people that can like defend the people that he's claiming to go after. Where it's just like, how dare you pick on those child traffickers? They're trying to make a living. You see how that sounds? That doesn't sound like but you also don't want to re-justify Mel Gibson because he has said so many terrible things about the Jewish people to cops while drunk.
Didn't he have quite a few anti-Semitic comments?
Oh my God. There's like a weird Nazi-ish party. And I'll say ish. There's like a weird Nazi-ish party in Australia that I'm not going to say if or if not Hugh Jackman might be a part of because we're not really sure how to interpret Hugh Jackman. Is he or is he not married to a man or a woman? Has he been with men or women? Is he a Nazi extremist? Is his wife black? See, I don't know any of those things, but they all kind of sound true in their own light because you don't know any of those things either, do you, Mchale?
No.
Exactly. It's a fucking mystery.
I would kind of group the public outbursts of Mr. Gibson, and they kind of gave me this. I guess this was going on at the same time, but they almost reminded me of the drunken Alec Baldwin phone calls to his daughter.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
they were on that same type of time. It seems.
Yeah, so Alec Baldwin, when going through a divorce with Kim Basinger, he turned into his Jack Donaghy character, basically. He's a pretty he's to be an actor in Hollywood at that level, you have to be somewhat of a ruthless son of a bitch of a person, and even on the other side of the gender spectrum right there, even Kim Basinger, kind of a ruthless scumbag. And then, of course, the press and the media, they're like, when are you guys going to have a baby? And they do. That's fine, right? Things are looking all right until they're like, oh, wait, we're still us. We're still pretty terrible. And a divorce eventually does happen. And, Alec Baldwin likes the way he sounds when threatening people's lives so much.
Oh, we learned that the hard way.
That he's like, how about I kill you? I'll take you back. I'll beat the hell. Like he's really going into it. Where the cops are like, we don't know if to charge him or give him an Oscar because that's good. That is some brilliant.
I was gonna say, as long as they don't have a camera in their hand, I think they're good.
You would think, yeah. So
you would think, yeah.
Yeah, no one has ever said to themselves besides Mel Gibson, let's make a movie, Passion of the Christ, where we're going to cast it and we're going to really focus on people beating the shit out of the Jesus character a lot. Like that's going to be almost all of the movie. So everyone in Hollywood's like, I'm not fucking giving you any money for that. You're out of your goddamn mind, right? You're a fucking idiot. It's never going to happen. So he puts up his own money, makes a lot of it back because, it was a big smash. Yeah. People went out to see it. He takes that money and, he just keeps. I like the one character he played where he played a guy with a beaver puppet, but it's only watchable for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the beaver.
Until you realize he didn't write that script. They're just like a bunch of blacklisted writer scripts that got bought out by subdivision production companies that Paramount resold off to little indie production companies just for shits, just to flex. That's exactly what happened.
All those scripts floating around in the blacklist.
Yeah. So they're just like, well, see if you can take your star power and do this there, Mel Gibson. And he's like, thank you, insert anti-Semitic comment. And you're like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from? And then Kanye's there with a backup mic. Don't worry, I got you. Sparky.
Like Flavor Flav style.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Speaking of Alec Baldwin,
Here you go,
honey.
honey. Here's a prop from my new movie. Make sure you show it to mommy.
That is a death certificate that he
Yeah, it's a
collected
rusty
shooting.
death certificate.
Yes, yes. I know what you're thinking, Mchale. Wow, that was dark for a. That was kind
Yeah.
of dark.
I love that. Yeah.
Hey, you know what that kind of reminds me of? AI in the entertainment industry right now. Mchale, do you think that AI is representing a logical style in entertainment? And do you feel like it has its place? Or do you feel like AI is just a better version of everyone else?
It's okay, so there are some aspects when you want to get technical about it that AI has its place in film. And it's just I don't want to say it's like an ethical thing because I really don't think it is. I think it's a thing of if you want to make movies, you like I said before, like you gotta there's no like way to bypass working out. Like you could just shit yourself all the time, and lose weight that way. But I think like you gotta feel the pain, feel the burn, uh, in order to really like understand what it actually is that like being a filmmaker is. But I mean, there's a place for it, obviously. Like,
Sir,
films use it for like
you have put that together beautifully. And
Sounds like
something
something.
to say that.
What are you talking about? Sounds like somebody took a master's class from Arnold Schwarzenegger on how I write a movie. You know, you need to
Yeah.
To the top.
You can shit yourself to weight loss.
Yeah, you can shit yourself to weight loss. You can be you can drink the flat tummy tea or whatever the fuck. Like you can do
What's that new
whatever.
drug
Take
out there?
Ozempic.
Make everybody.
Ozempic, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, the show is brought to you by Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Yeah.
Having trouble with your eating disorder? Ozempic is here to help. We weren't originally meant to help people lose weight, but
So I only bring that up because Simon Pegg was in a CBS Mornings interview yesterday, and he brought up a very, very good point. And he said, quote unquote, in response to my question about studios' push for artificial intelligence in the filmmaking process, the only thing AI can do is create mediocrity because all you can do is aggregate what's out there. So yes,
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah, of course. AI can write a script, but it'll be rubbish. AI has no childhood trauma. AI's never had a boyfriend or girlfriend. It's never had its heart broken. It's never been through anything that would give it impetus to create art. To rely on it would be just to make everything mediocre, and we have to fight mediocrity in order to create great art.
So what you're telling me, Tony, is AI can write every Disney script that's ever been out there in the past.
100%.
Like what the
Absolutely.
Start to finish.
I haven't seen too many movies that were so profound and so emotionally touching to the soul. In probably since the movie The Father and Hopkins, it was very well done, and that's it. The movie The Whale sucked. Brendan Fraser can just stop his pity party. You had money, you had movies, you had a fucking dude. You had the Mummy franchise. Okay, don't go crying because you're fucking broke and you got 2 divorces and now you're losing your hair. Okay, I'm tired of the pity party for Brendan Fraser. It's over, dude. You know, put on, and you know what? I'll say it a fucking million times over. Get real fat people. Get real fat people. Get real short people in movies. I don't need somebody putting on a fat suit. That's an insult right there. You know, it's very insulting.
True.
Dude, the thing is, I think AI can do a great job. Did you ever see AI's take on creating new Tom Hanks movies?
Oh,
It's
from
phenomenal.
Dudesy, yeah.
My favorite one was Uncle Bus, and I wish they fucking
Uncle
made
Bus,
that movie,
yeah.
right? Uncle Bus, where Tom Hanks dies and gets reincarnated as a bus, but his soul is in jeopardy with Satan himself, and his nephew, which is the only person that can hear him, has to take him, the bus, and raise the devil at midnight on Halloween. And if he doesn't win, then the whole world gets turned into buses. Fucking awesome movie, man. I am totally down.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll
and on
watch.
the front of the bus is a Wilson.
I was, dude, I was baffled. I'm like, there is no way. There's no way anyone can be more creative. You can add in some emotional scenes, fill in the blanks.
I think you can add in every single Tom Hanks movie into that bus in a little pieces. Sparky. And
people like to take a lot of credit for being creative and stuff, and that's great. You know, like that. Be creative, sharpen that tool. If you can beat the machine, then you will beat the machine, no problem. But if the machine's doing all right stuff, don't hate it. Don't, embrace the idea all around. Like when writing jokes, I don't pop it through any AI. I've been doing this comedy thing. We've been doing podcasting I've been doing comedy longer than podcasting, acting longer than comedy, sort of thing. Which Mchale was actually
this whole podcast right through AI.
Yeah, we do. We're not even real right now, Mchale.
No.
We are just
Nice. I thought so.
How was your battery holding up in that car? You good?
It's good.
Right.
Pretty good so far. It kicks right back on just there.
I was wondering that. I'm like, hopefully it's not draining its whole entire battery right now.
But before we wrap up this show, because we're writing about that time anyway.
We're in the hour, yeah.
Mchale, we are going to run out the red carpet for you, sir. We're going to roll it out accordingly. Do you have anything going on? Is there anything that you'd like to throw out there as far as any shows that you got coming up? If you're checking out a movie, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me. All my social medias are at Mchale Baden. You can find me on Twitter. I still call it Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, and all my movies, you can find just search Mchale Baden on YouTube as well. You can find Pitchman, you can find Slime Pays, you can find Third Date, and soon you'll find No One Will Believe You.
Hopefully we'll get a collab together with the Podguyz here and get
absolutely,
a movie together as well. But Sparky, what do you got there, buddy? I know you're patiently.
Some people have AI. We have Sparky. Better than AI. Much cheaper than AI.
I'm almost at my Tom Hanks movie script.
All right, keep going.
Oh! You know what? I already did like 10 scripts on ChatGPT. Sparky, we're doing fucking Paul Bunyan tests.
I know we are live, buddy. Put out what you got.
Okay.
There you go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be Sparky.
Okay, looks like a airplane or a flying penis in the air, and one or the other. And Sparky, explain your work there. What are you trying to do?
Well, what it is I took Tom Hanks's movies and I combined them. I even threw Uncle Bus in it. So what it is, it's a combination It's a combination of the movies Bachelor Party, Big, The Road to Perdition, and Sully, and plus Castaway.
So very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
The bus driver from Bachelor Party got too big to drive the bus, so he hired the guy from The Road to Perdition to stop the bus, but he accidentally shot the plane, which is going to crash into the bus. So in other words, it's going to be, an action comedy drama disaster movie.
And Wilson will save the day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Man, that hammer took too far and too long.
God damn it.
That was only a combination of 5 Tom Hanks movies.
Yeah, that was actually pretty
except
good.
For that, except for that weird one, Big.
Which
you ever see
one?
the movie Big? Yeah.
Big is a good movie. I like that movie.
Okay, so he becomes
Not a
a
lot of
child.
hate.
So he's a child. He always stays a child in his mind.
What was he
grows
in the
up,
money pit?
Some lady bangs
The
him
Money
when he's
Pit where he played
like a
Walter
boy,
Fielding.
when he's like a man, but he's still got like a boy brain. And then she
Yeah.
I'll drop him back off. So she has
She's
to
like,
live with herself, knowing that she's secretly just what the fuck.
Yeah,
In love
secretly
with the
fucked up
child.
80s movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, yikes.
God, the writer's room in that one, man.
Yeah, you actually name an 80s comedy movie. Tom Hanks had his hand in it somewhere, actually.
That's true. He had a lot. He had quite a few. All right. Well, that's the amount of time that we have for today. Sparky, where would you find us if you were looking for us?
Oh, you can find us everywhere in the world, and in the social media world and everything, including Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, GeoReel, GeoReel, yes. You can find us on Facebook Live Video. You can find us on YouTube Video. I think, are we on YouTube Video also now?
Yeah.
Merch booth. You can buy our interesting merch, T-shirts.
Yeah. T-shirts make the world go round. Make sure you buy a T-shirt.
Yeah, buy one.
Keep us on the air. Love us. We love your love.
What is that Trump said on the stand today? I'm going to buy a podcast T-shirt, defend myself with it.
He did. Yeah.
I don't know if that's really going to help us out too much, but
guys, we are the Podguyz podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. Tune in next week. We got quite a few guests booked up and planned, and
we got Colin Surik next week. We're going to do the NFL recap of the draft. We're not going to go live for the draft. We're letting everybody else do the speculation. We're going to do the recap of the NFL draft. He runs Underdog Sportsbook. I think that's the one that it is. But Colin's a really, really informative guy all around.
It's a very sports-centric podcast next week. Make sure you tune in. Guys, we're the Podguyz podcast. I'm Tony Cass.
Kevin Neary.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso.
Sparky.
All right. Make sure you share, like, subscribe below. Hit all the bells, buttons, whistles, all that shit. Thank you very much, Mchale Baden. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, man. We appreciate
Thanks for having
you.
me.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.